I'm Kevin Shepard
And I'm Maxie Long.
of Shepard & Long here in Maryville, Tennessee. And so today we're going to round out our series on custody and the factors that judges look at in hearing such cases. So one of the things, and this is very similar to one of the other issues we talked about in our first video, is that of which parent is involved in the day-to-day activities with the child.
So if you have a case where you have a stay-at-home parent and then a parent who works outside of the home, does that mean that typically the stay-at-home parent is going to end up with more time with the child?
You know, if you look just at that one factor, that's possible to think, oh no, the parent who's working 40 to 50 hours a week outside the home is at a disadvantage because the stay-at-home parent is doing all the school errands, doctor's appointments, and dentist appointments. So yes, judges are going to look at that, but they're also going to look at why the other parent is not doing that. If this has been a practice of that family where they agreed that one parent would stay at home and be involved more in those areas while the other's working, we're not going to penalize a working parent. But even a working parent, as you know, Maxie, from experience, is involved with their children and making sure that their needs are met and that they're going to PTA meetings in the evening and after school events. So the judge is going to look at factors such as that. The courts are also going to look at the love and affection, the emotional ties between the child and the parents. Now, sometimes this can really impact a parent's personality. One parent may be more the touchy-feely, tuck you into bed and sing parent, and the other one is not. Well, the judge is going to look at that. What is the strength of your relationship with the child? Now, you may be the silent parent, but you still have a strong emotional bond with the child, so that's good. The judge is going to look at that. But if you have very little of a relationship with that child, it's going to hurt you in a custody case, because if you have not been involved in your child and not emotionally invested in that child's life, it's going to show. And why should you, if you're that parent, have 50-50 when the other parent is very close and has really nurtured that child? Another factor that we look at sometimes is the age of the child, the magic age of 12.
And sometimes we have clients ask, if a child is 12, does that mean that they get to decide where they live?
You know, Max, it's a misconception, because we do have parents that call and say, well, my child just turned 12 and she wants to live with me all the time, so we win, right? No, that's one factor out of about 15 factors. And in fact, Tennessee case law says that if that's the only thing going for you, then nothing's going to change. Yes, a judge is going to listen to a child's preference if the child is 12 or older. Now, that child doesn't have the right to say, I don't want to see mom, but that child could say, I want to spend more time with dad. I want to spend more time with mom, and they need to have a reason. And that reason can't be because dad lets me eat chocolate cake for breakfast. It might be because mom's new boyfriend scares me, or dad is more involved and always comes to my school activities and I feel safer there. Those are things a court is going to look at, and a child has a reason and has a right to state that to the court, and the court will give consideration to that. Another thing a court's going to look at is a parent's employment. Now, 50-50 is a great idea, but if you're working night shift, the judge is going to take that in consideration. You're really not going to have the child equal co-parenting because you're working night shift. You really can't care for the child overnight. So sometimes employment does affect, or if you're an over-the-road truck driver and you're gone 5 days out of the week. Well, a judge is going to maximize your time, but that might only be 1 or 2 days a week because of your schedule. So there are several factors that go into custody, co-parenting, coming up with a plan. Court's also going to look at the fitness of each parent as it relates to parenting responsibilities, moral, physical, mental fitness with the child. Those things are important. But it's also important to know that disability of a parent, let's say you're receiving Social Security disability, that cannot be used against you. There's no presumption for or against you on that. But if you, let's say, a case that we are familiar with, someone had bipolar disorder. They were properly medicated. Judge didn't use that condition against them. Compare it to a case where a person with bipolar disorder refuses to take their medicine. Then the judge can look at that factor and say, your choices are putting your child at risk. Same condition, different result. So things like that are going to be looked at by a court. So as you can see, this is all encompassing. Every area of a parent's life is going to be looked at. And when you go into a custody case, make sure that you get a lawyer or a team of lawyers that's there for you, that knows the law, that's going to pay attention to detail and help you have a successful case.